Good morning, children. Welcome to Class 10 Biology, lesson number 24 Absorption by Roots. Children, I want you looking at the figure on your right. The boxes that you see, consider them to be buildings, and the arrows showing a person wanting to move from one end of these buildings to the other end, that is, from the end where the arrows are to the blue end. There are three methods by which the person can move from here to there. One is he can enter into each building, like the arrows you see, each building, and come out from the other side, and this way he can reach the end. Second method is he can climb up to the roof and walk via the roofs to the end. You can see that with the help of the pink arrows that are shown. And the third method is the spaces that are present between the buildings. He can move through those spaces and reach the end. Similarly, water can also be transferred from the root hair right up to the xylem vessel via three main methods. 1. When the water enters into the cell from one end and leaves it from the other side, this is called osmosis. We have already studied this in the previous class. The second method is via the walls of the cell, that is via the cell walls. You can see those pink arrows. That is the way in which water can move from one cell to another and reach the xylem vessels. And the third method by which water can pass is through the spaces that are present between the cells. With this in our mind, let us start our class. The first topic that we will discuss is imbibition. What is imbibition? The absorption of water by the solid particles of a substance in their dry or semi-dry state without forming a solution is called imbibition. If you take a seed and soak it in water for some time and then remove it from there after it has swelled up, cut the seed, you will find no water coming out from it. This is imbibition. The liquid part is known as the imbibate, and the solid part is, that is the cellulose which is present, is called the imbibant. Common examples of imbibition: jamming of the wooden doors during the rainy seasons. You will find that during the rainy season it is difficult to open and close wooden doors. This is because water is absorbed in the form of vapors by the cellulose which is present in the doors, cells of the door. You can also see the next example. Dry seeds soaked in water swell up and the seed coat bursts. Germination of seeds takes place via this method. It is very clearly shown in the figure. Let us study imbibition with the help of an experiment. Take a few seeds and put it in a can and place some water together with the seeds. Now close the lid of the can and leave it for some time. What do you observe? The can bursts open and the seeds are scattered with great force. Inference: dry seeds, when soaked in water, imbibe water and swell up, thus increasing their volume. This exerts pressure on the can and it bursts open. Actually, imbibition of water takes place because cellulose has a great affinity for water. Now let us study diffusion. The free movement of molecules of various substances, that is solids, liquids and gases, from a region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration when they are in direct contact is called diffusion. Now see the figure. We have two different molecules of different materials which are separated with the help of a barrier. In the second figure, the barrier is removed. You will find the movement of these molecules from the region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration begins. In the third figure, eventually an equilibrium, that is equal distribution of the molecules, is reached. Now, some common examples. A bottle of perfume opened in one end of the room spreads its odor throughout the room. This is because of diffusion. Sugar added to water and left for some time. You will find that the whole glass has an even or uniform sweet taste. Let us study this with the help of an experiment. Take a beaker containing water and place few crystals of potassium permanganate on one side. What do you observe after some time? The crystals of potassium permanganate dissolve in water slowly, and the color starts spreading from its higher concentration to its lower concentration till the whole solution becomes uniformly homogeneous and colored. You can see it in the figure. You have the potassium permanganate crystals. First they dissolve and slowly they start moving towards the opposite end, and water from the other side starts moving towards this end, thus making the concentration of potassium permanganate lighter as time passes. And after some time you will find that the movement of molecules continues till the molecules are evenly distributed, which you can see very clearly in the figure. Importance of diffusion in plants. What is its importance? Loss of water vapor through stomata takes place by diffusion. Exchange of gases during respiration as well as photosynthesis is because of diffusion. Diffusion is also responsible for passive salt uptake. Actually, when water is diffusing from the soil into the inside the root hair, the salt which is dissolved in water also comes in without any utilization of energy. This is called passive salt uptake. Aroma of flowers is due to diffusion. We all know that the flowers that bloom in the night have a very good smell. It is to attract insects for pollination. If this aroma doesn't come, then pollination in these flowers will not take place. Within this protoplasm also, substances move by diffusion. Now let us study diffusion in gases. Take a hollow glass tube and place a cotton soaked in ammonia on one end, and on the other end place a cotton soaked in hydrochloric acid and keep it as shown in the figure. Leave it for some time. What do you observe? Dense white fumes of ammonium chloride are formed where the gases meet. Inference. The ammonia gas from the left moves from its higher concentration to the right, whereas hydrochloric gas, which is present on the right side, moves from its higher concentration towards the left. At one place, both these gases meet and ammonium chloride is formed, and that is the dense white fumes that you see. Now, let us discuss what diffusion pressure is. It is the pressure exerted by diffusing particles and is directly proportional to their concentration. Higher the concentration, higher would be the diffusion pressure. Diffusion is a slow process, but the rate of diffusion increases if the difference in concentration between the two regions increase. So more the difference in concentration, more would be the rate of diffusion. The distance between the region decreases. That means if it is in a small vessel, diffusion is higher, the rate of diffusion is higher, and if it's in a large vessel, the rate of diffusion is comparatively slow. The molecules that are diffusing are small. If the molecules are small, they will diffuse faster, and if the molecules are large, they will diffuse slower. The number of pores in the cell membrane are more. If there are more pores, that means more diffusion will take place. If there are less pores, less will take place. Also, if the size of the pores is large, more diffusion will take place, and if they are small, less would take place. Now let us discuss tonicity. Now what is tonicity? Tonicity is the amount of tension developed in a system on account of the solute particles present in it. So according to this, solutions are of three types. Isotonic solution, when the concentration of water and solute is same on either sides of the cell membrane, it is more known as isotonic solution, and there is no net movement of water here. Hence, the size of the cell remains the same. Hypotonic solution, when the concentration of solute molecules is low on the outside of the cell membrane, then water moves from outside to inside the cell and the cell increases in size. This is known as end osmosis. Hypertonic solution. When the concentration of solute is high outside the cell, then the water moves from inside the cell to the outside and the cell shrinks in size. This is known as exosmosis. Now let us study turgidity. When a cell is kept in water, it absorbs water through endosmosis, we've just studied, and finally reaches a stage that it cannot accommodate any more water. In this state, the cell is fully stretched and is called a turgid cell, and the condition is called turgidity. Turgor pressure. The pressure exerted by the cell contents against the cell wall in a turgid condition is known as turgor pressure, and the inward pressure exerted by the cell wall against the cell contents under fully turgid condition is known as wall pressure. As well, as long as the turgor pressure and the wall pressure is equal, the cell remains stable. If the turgor pressure increases, the cell will burst. Now, what is the significance of turgidity? Movement of water from cell to cell is because of turgidity. Water always moves from a more turgid cell to a less turgid cell. In short, the movement of water from one part to another depends on the turgor pressure of the two regions. It also helps in maintaining proper shape. Turgidity helps in maintaining the shape of the softer organs like the young stems, flowers, and fruits. In the figure, you can very clearly see a turgid plant and a flaccid plant. Turgidity also provides rigidity. Thin wall structures become rigid due to turgidity. Roots are able to penetrate the soil due to turgidity. Also, you must have seen that the plants which are climbing on the walls of your building develop cracks in the building when the root penetrates inside the walls. Movement of plant cells is also a result of turgidity. Stomatal movements. Opening and closing of stomata is controlled by the turgidity of the guard cells. We have already studied them in the previous classes. And these valves are known as turgor-operated valves. Drooping of leaves. In touch-me-not plant, the drooping of leaves is brought about by loss of turgidity by the cells of the pulvinus. Pulvinus is the base of the leaf, the swollen part of the leaf, which is in certain plants it is swollen and it's called the pulvinus. It loses its turgidity due to touch movement. Movement of leaves in insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants entrap prey by closing their leaves when the prey touches these leaves. This is due to changes in turgidity. For example, the pitcher plant, the Venus flytrap, etc. Bending movements of certain flowers towards the sun is brought about due to changes in turgidity. For example, the sunflower. With this, we end this class. Thank you, children. Take good care of yourselves and God bless you all.